Oh, hi there, SLP. I think the audio should be working for this. Hello, Violet Sunset. Hello, Rock Hard. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, I should say. I don't know why I say good evening. I guess it's a habit. Hello, hello. You would love to know how to fry chicken while DJing? We're gonna do a cooking stream when we do eventually get to the third deck goal. We're gonna do a prime rib dinner. Just making a quick Instagram announcement here. You can hear the music in the background, right? And how's the levels of it? Mic up a bit. How's that there, SLP? Mike, not so much. All right, how about now? Mike's better now? Okay. All right, cool. Let me just, you know what? I'm going to ask a favor. I'm going to jump over real quick to my DJ deck and let me know if the volume is really any different. The mic's low. Alright, that just tells me that the okay, that just tells me the music's too loud. Alright, now back onto the DJ mic. Way low? Like... I'm confused. I haven't touched my mic settings from from the DJ deck. Alright, I'm gonna follow one person here. I'm getting yeses and nos. Okay, so the music's still too loud? Okay, from the deck is good? Okay. All right, and back over here to the other mic. Should be around comparable now, I'm hoping. Hi, Neon Emu. Hello, Fritz Bear. Oh, that's way too high. Okay. Can you hear me now? the mic a little loud? Okay, you tell me when it's right. I'm just gonna keep talking. That's better? All right. Coming down, coming down. Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay, better. Perfect. All right, well, we're basically gonna just kind of dive into this without a game plan, because stuff like this you can't really plan for. This is gonna be like a bit of a Q&A, and also going to be anyone that wants to join video-wise can join in, and let me join my own video chat here. And make sure I got everything muted for now. Yeah, okay, we're good there. Okay. Well, hello. Okay, let's come over here for a sec. Yeah, so what we're gonna do, fam, is we're gonna jump into it, and we're just gonna kind of start from the beginning and go through. And what I'm hoping that y'all can do is just ask questions, but tag me, at me in Twitch, so that I have a better chance of seeing it. I know that questions may come through and I may miss them, but that's not the intent. So I basically want to answer everything that anyone has to ask about DJing. So we're going to start from the beginning. We're going to skip past all the preliminary stuff, and we're basically going to focus on the deck work. Music too loud? All right. Keep me posted. I can't hear anything other than my own voice at this point. So the mic volume hasn't changed. This is the normal DJ volume. So it's just the background music that I can't hear what the background music sounds like. So just help me on that. Just got a deck. Don't have music downloaded or anything. That's okay. We're gonna cover the basics of mixing and all that, and timings and rhythm and phrasing. And if you don't understand what any of these terms mean, please go ahead and ask. Something like phrasing is when you've got two tracks. Phrasing is a element of mixing. It's a part of mixing. And phrasing is when you have two tracks that you're going to line up together vocally and be able to make them sound naturally good together. So we're just going to kick off with something. So what we'll do through the day is I'll also pull up some examples on... let's kind of go with some older music right now, just to kind of get some familiarity. We'll go through some examples of different styles of mixing. Hello, Hitch Pixie. Excited for the stream. Thanks for doing this free of playing. Can't wait to get a glimpse into how it's done. As long as you're near the mic, the music isn't too loud. But when you move, it gets a little hard to hear. Okay. Well, now I've got my headphones on, so it should be improved. Okay. So I made a button here that hopefully can give me the camera angle that I need here. Hi, Danny. Yeah, happy to have you. Okay, I've got a few angles here. So let me just get some better lighting. Okay. Hopefully y'all can see that. And again, I know you won't be able to necessarily read some of these in every angle, but for those that DJ will know what's going on, and we'll kind of talk our way through this stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the deck up the way that I would set it up walking into a venue or walking into an event. What does that button do? How about the other one to the left?
I'll talk about them all. We're going to set the deck up how I would walk into any environment, DJ environment, or any back-to-back or any club setting. Basically, I go from top down on the decks. First thing I ask is, what decks are we playing on? In my case, we're playing on decks 2 and 3. So we're playing on the center 2 channels. You could hook them up to 1 and 4 if you wanted. Some artists do. I prefer it to be 2 and 3 because if you're naturally going to be playing with 2 decks, this is where they would be. If you have a 3rd deck or a 4th deck, they would be on the outside. So it's just good practice to have decks 2 and 3. Now, if you look at the deck that I have right now, this is a CDJ 2000 NX2. And you'd like some general advice on tagging and marking. Lug, I'll get into that with both tagging through Rekordbox and tagging on the fly. Tagging on the fly is something that I do if I hear something in a particular way. Okay, so when it comes to audio and live deck, the live deck is where you've got the red on your actual deck. So that way you've got a visual cue, what's live and what's not live. So you can see if I bring the volume fader up, it tells me which deck is actually going to be playing live. So first thing I'm going to do, top down, I'm looking at my trim levels, making sure that I'm not going to blow the speakers on anyone's particular system. You'll see on decks 1 and 4, just out of habit, I have everything turned low so that visually, when I see them all turned down to low, I know that they're not in use. So I've got my trim levels turned up to about 40%. I've got my highs set just above 50. Gonna have my mids set to 50, my bass set to 50. When you're streaming, you're typically not going above 50 on bass. So your low end, no redlining. If you ain't redlining, you ain't headlining. If you ain't blowing, if you're blowing speakers, you're not getting invited back. That's kind of the reality of it. Okay, so top down, I've got everything set here to the center. I like to set my sound effects in advance, so I have my parameter. So parameter, here, let's just, parameter is the level in which these effects will actually play. So low level of effects, high level effects. Okay, so I keep my parameter at about 40%, 50%. I also come over here and I will set my echo. I will turn off the low. I find that if you go like this, so we've got an echo out, 2-bar echo there. I find if I turn the lows off, it's a lot less aggressive than having all the low on. I also come up to here to flange, and I extend my flange all the way wide to 64. And it just allows it to sound more like this. Okay, so let's get into our tempos first. One thing that I do as well, you'll see here on the left side and the right side, they're both, hang on, it's pretty bright. There we go, that's better. They're both red, so that means my tempo is going to be set too high. So I want to have my tempo less wide, it's green. So what that means here, fam, is low end, I'm down to 117 beats per minute. High end, I'm up to 132 beats per minute in this track. If I want to do some sort of tempo slide, I would go all the way to a wide setting, and we would tighten the loop. So to tighten the loop that we have right now, here's how you get into a loop. We just touch in and out on the 4s. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and you can tighten it just by going left or right. So we've got an 8-bar loop here. Hi, Susie. Now we've got a 4-bar, 2-bar, 1-bar. And that's how we use the master tempo. But for the mixing purpose, we're going to have it in just plus or minus 6, which is green. Okay? What we're going to do during this time, we basically use this. I know the energy of my track. I know the tempo of my track. I'm going to come over here to the next deck and start to prep my next track. And then we're going to talk about how to mix it in and different ways to mix it in. Now, what I'm doing during this time, I like to mix. I like to EQ. So I'm doing 1 bar echoes, maybe a little crush. And then what I'm going to do as the, so there's an echo. What I'm going to do as it drops here. Now, you can kind of see on this particular track, right here is the drop. We're coming up to it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that drop. We're going to go 8 bars into that drop with a flange. Just to build energy right here. And a little space for some added depth. Oh yeah, sorry, the background music. Right here on the 4th, I'm doing a quarter rotation on the color, which is my space sound effect, and then I'm going full. So again, I'm using flange in this particular case to add a little background depth, but if I have it on low, it's too much. This is way too much. You can hear it is way too much. I use a lot of echo and a lot of ping pong in these moments. So noise. Noise is basically like a it's called a noise filter. Sounds lovely with things like ping pong. Now, what I like to do a lot is I like to loop my sound effects, which most people don't even know is possible. And you can't do it with quite the same with just using your level depth on and off. If you have a CDJ NX2, not the NX1, the NX2 has what's called this touchpad right here, the X pad. The X pad is amazing to work with. It allows you to actually control the sound effects in 16th note, 8th note, quarter note, half note, 3/4 notes, a little bit of off time, single bar echo, 2 bar or 4 bar notes. So it allows you to manipulate the sound effects. So what I like to do is go 1 2 4 1 or 1 2 4 2 different arrangements. So here's what that sounds like. And you can extend the loop by opening it just by hitting the right arrow or tighten it by the left arrow. Hey, Salty Crew, thanks for the 40 bits. Okay, by the way, so this is the time that I use to read the chats, and I also have to cue the next track. So I know kind of the energy that we're going for. Let's go with some throwback stuff that people will kind of know for a bit. Fritz with the 500. Okay. So what we're going to talk about here before we get into the mixing, there's a few different ways that we could mix this. Now, ding ding. Okay, so we've got the next track queued up. So it's sorry, I didn't talk about what we did there. I had to set it to 125 BPM. So I want to make sure the first thing I do when I'm prepping the next track is get the BPM ready. If you don't, you're not going to be able to mix it properly. So in my headphones, here's something that a lot of DJs don't do. And it's okay that they don't do this. They use their Q mix in their headphones like this, I no longer can hear myself. If you bring it up to the center point, this is basically a master mix. So they often mix like this, but they can't hear the reality of the voice and all the sound effects. So when you use your mixing on the halfway point for your headphones, you can now hear the sound effects in your headphones on the non-live deck. So in this case, I've got noise on, and you can't hear that, but I can in my headphones. So what you're seeing on the decks here, this is your master. So this is exactly as you're hearing it. So when I turn that off, I can't hear anything now because there's nothing playing. I can't hear my voice. But because I have my mixing level on halfway point, I can hear my voice right now. So it allows me to do stuff like this. Eat fresh. And I can hear the echoes in my ears right now. Fresh. But if you do it like a lot of DJs do, where they have their Q with their mixing on Q only, then they can't hear any of that. So, a couple ways that we're going to mix. Let me just catch up on the chats here, and then we're going to talk about the different ways to mix in. Neon Emu, thank you for the 10-month sub, and Fritz Bear with the 500 biddies. A quack. Okay. So, in this case, I do happen to have some cue points set up. I don't generally use cue points. Somebody was asking earlier. Who was asking about cue points? I usually don't use them, and I certainly don't set them anymore when I'm streaming. And I'll kind of talk about why. Hi, Elug. Okay, so these are tracks that I've played in a club setting. So I did set up some cue points. The way that we can do these is we can start our right track when we drop the chorus to this song, or we can wait 16 or 32 bars. So I'll show you what those differences sound like here. So let's just back it up. I'm going to start this particular drop this particular track when this drop hits. But what that means is we're going to have a fast mix out. So it means let me just try and sit here. There. Now you can kind of see me a little better. I don't need to stand. How much bass is too much bass? Well, let's answer that. Don't go above 50% when you're streaming, especially. You want to keep it right at 50%. Okay. So when we mix this track, we've got 3 different times that we could, mix in. We could start mixing in on the drop, but we're only going to have 16 bars to actually get to the next drop. So that's actually going to be rushed. So that's like a power mixing style. So let's do that first. When this drop happens, here's a trick you can use also if you want. You can go on the touch screen, and you can actually touch the part of the track that you want, and you can see exactly how many bars you are to it. So if I come over here and I touch the drop, it says 15.4 here. So it's 16, or this little green thing right here. 16 bars to the drop. I already know that, but this is going to be called a power mix. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to start this particular drop, or this particular track on the drop. Okay, drop is coming. So get ready. We're going to start this track, and then I'll talk about that. Oh yeah, my tempo's off. Okay, there we go. And go. Okay, first thing we do, in my headphones I can hear it. My timing's off, so I've adjusted it. I've got my low end down. I want to have my mid set to about 1/3. And I'm going to start bringing the high down on deck 2. But the timings that I want to bring that down is on the 4 bar and the 8 bar. So I'm counting. And a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut it. Okay, so that's power mixing. That's a fast mix. Now, before we get out of it, we can loop it with an in-out. So I'm on a 1-bar loop here, and I'm going to tighten it into a backspin, all right? And you're using this Q call loop button to tighten it. All right. So that's the first way that we could mix that song. So that's power mixing. That's doing it more of a club style, a festival style. Out of my head, welcome in. Thanks for the follow. That particular style is when you have like a 1-hour set and you can't play songs through and through, or let them, you don't have time to let them play out even. That's how you would play in a club or festival style of set. So here's the next way. We're not going to drop this track on the drop of the first song. We're gonna wait 16 bars, and then we're gonna mix it in. You'll hear the difference. It's not as fast. So when you see us tapping this yellow button, we're making sure that our bass or our kick is on the ones. So the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. Okay, now the last time we dropped this track right here. So again, we got the low cut down all the way. We would drop it there if we were power mixing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm counting in my head non-stop all night long. I know where we are. Here's the first part you could mix in there. But we're not going to. We're going to let it play right until 32 bars. Here we go. Now is we're going to long mix. And we're going to loop. I want to try and get a nice little sound effect there. So now I power mixed into that one too. And again, I don't necessarily do that all the time live where I'm backspinning and all that. There's so many different ways that you could mix in. You could long mix like this. Entirely long mix, and then we could just loop the undertones of the Madonna song. So here we go. Okay, get our timing right. Make sure our bass is cut, our mids on a third. Primary track, we want to begin to bring the high down on the 4s though. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a little more. So this is long mixing. Now you can hear the change in the energy. We're going to loop it though. Loop that Madonna track. And bass up. So we want our bass to be up on our new track and down on our old track, and loop it. And bring down the mid a little more. So now you could backspin it and tighten it, or you could just let it go on the loop. These songs are the same BPMs. No, one's 125 and one's 126, but right now I've made them both 125. See, we got the Madonna song still playing in the background. Now, something that I would do. Hang on. Let me just. There's another way that we could mix out of that. So we could either just start to bring our volumes down or we could use what's called a space out or an echo out of the original track, being the Madonna track. So in this case, let's try two different things. We're going to mix out with space, and then we're going to mix out with crush and echo. So space is this sound. And crush and echo are going to sound like this. All right. Okay, first thing we're going to do is come out with space on the Madonna track.
Give it to me, baby, nice and slow. I'm on top, ride like you're in a rodeo. You ain't never heard it sound like this before, cause I ain't never
that's a good question.
It's like it's a race who could get undressed quicker. Isn't it ironic how erotic it is to watch and thongs? Had me thinking about that ass after I'm gone. I touched the right.
There should be. Let's see. I'm just looking.
So seductive, you should see the way she whine. Her hips are slow-mo on the floor when we grind. Long as she ain't stopping, homie, I ain't stopping. Dripping wet with sweat, man, it's on and popping on my champagne campaign. Bottle after bottle is on, and we gon' sip to every bubble, and every bottle is gone.
Space is a pretty standard Pioneer sound, so I'm just pulling it up here. Trying to find a deck that I can actually read. Okay, here comes the space. So all it was there was just... But it's very subtle in the background. I'll show you another way. Now, let's tighten this loop up, and we're going to move on to a couple different songs. Now, something we could do here, I'm going to loop this. Okay, we got two tracks here. How many songs would you recommend downloading when first starting out? Honestly, just enough to play a set for its bear, like an hour by yourself. Really the best way. Okay, so this is coming from my guitar teaching background. The best way to get into stuff that you can learn is to get into stuff that you enjoy playing. So play music that you know. So one of the most important things while DJing is knowing your music. And when you hear people say know your music, it means you know everything about it for timing. You know when the nuances are. You know when the vocals come in. You know when the drops hit. You know when there's false drops or pretend drops that confuse the crowd. That's knowing your music. So the best way to start is to know your music and play stuff that you're familiar with and that you know and that you're passionate about, because you will know when it sounds right and you will know when it sounds wrong. Phil Harris has a decent starter DJ set on Spotify to practice with. There you go, Elug. Okay, so we still had the two tracks. We had this loop from Madonna. Now what we could do is let's do a master tempo slide on that just for fun. We're at the end of the track, but I'll show you what that looks like. So what we're going to do, and again, this is something that not a lot of people know about. On Pioneer and a lot of decks, you can tighten your loops by hand, hit the in button, rotate the deck forward, hit the out button, rotate the deck backwards, and now we're going to open up our tempo and listen to this. Hi, Brit Sticks. So we're bringing the Madonna track up to currently 250 BPM. This is what's going on in the background. And this is a great time where you can learn what the sound effects sound like. And these are opportunities that I like to take. Like, I'll often do a lot of this stuff in the headphones while streaming. You just don't know it. Because I'm trying to find the right sound for a particular mix. Okay, what else should we mix in here? There we go. Okay. So we've got this on a 125 bar loop. Next track in is 123.9. First thing we're going to do is set it to 125. Get our cue ready, bring our low down, and bring our high up. We're going to already begin to bring our high down on the primary master track. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to loop this and show you something. Okay, what we're going to do, let's manipulate this track a little bit. So to manipulate it, we're going to add some sound effects. I'm going to move over my effects frequency to deck 2 only. So right here, you can set your effects to be master, which is all the decks and the mic. You can set it to deck 4, deck 3, deck 2, deck 1, mic only, or the crossfader. So in this case, we're going to do the effects on deck 2 only. Now I have a delay on, and I have the mid and the high frequencies on, and nothing on the off. Okay? I'm going to use the X-Pad here, and this is where the DJM 900 NX2 comes in handy because the NX1 doesn't have this. So hear these. Holy fried pickles! Fried pickles with the raid. Hello, fried pickles. Fried, we're doing some DJ lessons today. So right now we're on mixing and effects. So we're gonna add quarter bar echoes to the left track. So this is how we do it. Half. Hello, Lucia. So you can kind of hear those. Now that's an echo. Another effect that I like to use is called delay, which is like an echo, but it cuts off at the end. Okay. We're going to bring the loop out, but again, I'm counting in my head. You want to time it nicely. Correct our bass here. So this is where I'm adding little delays. Fry, thanks for being here. Good luck at work today. I'm assuming that's where you're off to. So when I'm using the effects, I'm using them on the 4s or the 1s. Now here I'm going to put it back over to echo, single bar echo with some crush. Two bar echo, slide down, and it goes real slow. So here, I like to add little nuances. You can kind of hear those. Hi, Ryan Mellis. Hello, Evil Pizza. Hi, Lady Paints. Holy food, the whole fam's here. Super EXE. Okay, so those are the little sound effects. And this is where it's good to play around. Reverb. You can put reverb on. This is trans, which is more like a stutter. And again, that touchpad makes it so nice. Little flange in there when it's quiet. Touch my pad. Bruh! So all I did there was I'm adding a little bit of flange, and again, flange is overused. I like to add flange on my mid and high frequencies only. And to do that, we are just shutting off the low frequency. Just makes it less aggressive, and we have our flange parameter on about the halfway mark, and we're going to use a crush to kind of complement it. Crush is this sound. Okay? And this is what it's going to kind of do together. So we're going to use those to build up excitement during the slowdown part. And flange. Little space. But as we go up, we're going to bring some crush in instead of the space. Delay or echo. Three and four and one and two and three and four and one and two and three and four. We got a thrust redemption. Thank you, Alushua. Oh, now we could really have some fun here. Let's change our parameter on the effects over to the microphone input instead of the deck. We're gonna turn off talkover. If we have talkover during this, never gonna give you up. If we have talkover on during any mic effects, it sounds silly. This is what it would sound like. We want it to be quieter. So it's like So this is where we loop the sound effects. Now we've looped the track, 8-bar loop, okay? And again, single echo, and I do a single echo into a 2-bar and a 4-bar. So watch my fingers here. This is kind of where it goes back and forth. Oh yeah, the important thing is knowing how to use the sound effects, Ryan. So now I've looped it in. And you have to keep your low off. This is what it would sound like if I have it just on high. It's barely noticeable. Or just high and low. This is why mid and high are the best way to use your sound effects. It's not too much. What I'm doing there, again, just to build a little bit of nuances as we go into the softer part of the song. I'm just doing single bar echoes with a little bit of crush, and you kind of have to watch the hands to see it because you don't necessarily fully hear it or know that it's not part of the song. And that's the intent, is to use the effects so they don't necessarily stand out if you're not watching. Yeah, the important thing is knowing where to use them. There will be songs I don't do any EQ mixing in, and it's calling for that. Now here, light flange. Just building a little excitement, but you don't want full flange. Otherwise, it sounds like this. See the difference? It's like really, really noticeable, and it's really, really loud. You want it just nice and soft. Light flange. So when I say light flange, I'm saying we've got our low end turned off, and we're only on mid and high. You could get even lighter by just having it on high. Now it's barely. The flange number currently is set at 64 bars, but my frequency is set to mid high, so it's just not full flange. So again, this is the difference. So this is really strong. Less strong. Even less strong. Okay, now let's get into looping a little bit. So when you've got a track that has a very, very recognizable line like Staying Alive does, that's what we want to loop and then bring in another track on that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, as always, we set our tempos. Now, in this case, I'm going to move this from 125 BPM. This one's 127 BPM. A lot of people use master tempo. I don't. I like to bring different energies to the sets. Hey, Luke, thank you for the 300 bits. I like to bring I like to bring the tempos up and the tempos down more naturally because I do like to play 108 BPM tracks, 140 BPM tracks. What does flange mean? Is it pulling sound from elsewhere or just a preset sound? So this is flange, Danny. Here, I'm going to turn it on really, really aggressive. So this is flange. So all it is, it's an effect. It is an effect that is layering over and above the current live output. So this works very similar. You can get these for guitar. You can get them for vocals. You can get them for music. You can get them in effects pedals or just digital effects. In this case, this is a digital effect built within the DJM 900 mixer. So this is flange. Quack, 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 quack. Okay, so we had a quack redemption. So what we do there, I switch from flange over to echo and switch my switch it from being on the master over to mic. Quack, 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 quack. Hi, Legally Blonde. How you doing? We're just going through some effects right now. So you can hear it like this. Hey, Luke, thanks for being here. Okay. So we're going to bring in the next track. We've got an 8-bar loop on BGs. We've looped it where it's a very recognizable part of the song. And we're going to bring our next deck in with bass on low, our high on a little bit above the halfway point, our mid at about a third, 40%. And we're going to begin to flip the bass. So again, when we're EQ mixing, we're doing it on 4s or 8s or 16 bars, so we're counting in our head. We don't want to do it just randomly. We want to be timing these. We want to actually be paying attention to where it is. And this comes a little easier for some than others because in my case, I used to be a guitar teacher, so when I'm listening to music, subconsciously, whether I think I am or not, I'm always counting in my head. I know exactly where we are. I know exactly where the downbeats are or the upbeats are. Anyways, we want to be counting it and changing our bass on the 8s or 16s or 32s on the even numbers. Otherwise, it stands out, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, I've got our timing up. I'm going to bring our volume up. And I'm slowly going to retract the high end from the primary Bee Gees track. Okay, and we're going to be flipping the bass. And now is where I'm going to add a little bit of sound effects to the original track. A little depth on the way out. We're going to bring the filter up. Little backspin with the 1 bar into a 2 bar. So we're just echoing that backspin out, and it's going to continue to run. So this is the backspin on loop. Okay, something else we're going to do here, and this is what we're going to tap it out a little bit, so you can add, again, little nuances in the background that the idea is for people to not notice. This is what I'm going to be tapping out. And this is what it actually was. Okay, that's what we're going to use. So all that really was just... And then we put some echo on it. You could do reverb. Super EXE, thank you for the 6 months sound. Now, I'm not doing this the whole song. I'm just showing you a lot of it so that you know what it's used for. See, again, I'm coming back to this. Little quarter note and half note echoes. Single bar. Now I do what I do when I'm doing kind of like a faster tempo, well, not fast tempo, but like more of an upbeat tempo track like this. We're at, what are we at? 126. I'm using quarter note and quarter note and half note echoes to just create a little bit of depth. And as the track transitions, and in this case, she goes, New York, right here. Right here. So we're transitioning in the song right there, and that's where we're going to change to a single bar echo with a little bit of crush, and I'll show you what it sounds like. And again, we're just creating depth in the song without you really, hopefully, noticing. Half, quarter, half, quarter, half. And into the single bar. And that continues going in the background. So again, the idea is to use that sound just to create a little bit of longer term depth. See, it's playing in the background there. And that's how we're using those effects. Layering it, looping the effects, and just manipulating. Hello, what's up, Petch? How you doing, brother? So we can go like. We could essentially use this as a part of our next drop. So why don't we plan for that? We didn't plan for that, but let me find a track, and let's show you how to do a loop into a spin back drop. Let me find a good song here. Please sit on me, too chaotic today. Mix Mini, thanks, fam. We're just talking it through, and I hope it's not boring for people. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you're learning something, and I hope you can apply something new. The thing about Twitch is, it's a playground to try this stuff out, because once you get into a live setting, you know what works and what doesn't work. And I don't do the same quantity of spinbacks live, but I do a number of them, and my whole goal with doing them a lot on Twitch is to find the right ones. Okay. Okay. Let's show what we did there. Okay, so we're gonna get out of that loop and we're gonna set it together. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the hook or the We're gonna use that part as part of our loop, and we're gonna use that to come into the next track. Now, I haven't done any homework on these two tracks together, but they are in the same key, so there's that. All the spin backs. And we're gonna use that hook or that vocal loop, and we're gonna tighten it into the drop. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna set the loop on. I guess it's going to be a 2-bar or 4-bar loop. I'll have to watch how many bars it's going to be. And then we're going to tighten it by 1s and 2s. So when I say tighten it, our loop. Our loop gets tightened with these buttons right here. Or you can also touch the touchpad. Okay. So here we go. Let's loop it out on the yeah, and then we're gonna, on the next track, we're actually gonna cut through the intro. We're gonna cut past the intro, because if I do the yeah, for the next track, it's gonna be 32 bars until the drop, and that's way too long to listen to the yeahs. Okay, so we're gonna meet in the middle. We're gonna start the next track at the 16th bar, so 16 bars into the song. This is what it's gonna sound like. Well, here's the song first of all. See how it's too slow? We're gonna start it here. This is the track. Okay, so let's try it together. Again, we're gonna come to the right deck, the Alicia Keys track. We're gonna loop it, tighten the loop. As we tighten it, let's add some reverb, but it might be a little too aggressive. So this is where you want to turn off your mid or your high, if it's too aggressive. Let's try it out. Now remember, we're going to find that hook, that yeah. We're finding it by hand. Now, hang on. Before I get into this, something that I'm going to have to do is when I'm looping it, you're going to be looping a 4-bar loop, which is going to revert the yeah by 4 bars. As we transition the next track in, we're going to have missed 4 bars already, so we're going to use what's called beat jump to jump ahead 4 bars. So on a CDJ 2000, looks just like this. Right here in the top right hand corner, it says beat jump. You touch it, and you can jump forward or back 2, 4, 8, or 16 bars, or single beats if you're just wanting to touch the little single beat. I generally don't have to use these. I just use the jog wheel. But in this case, we're going to jump forward 4 bars so that our timing is still right. So our phrasing. Phrasing is when we are marrying up the vocals of 2 tracks, or really just marrying up everything in the tracks, so that it is fluid. Everything's timed right. You can have too many backspins. It is possible, Red Walks. And that's why I don't do a lot live. I'm doing a lot more on stream because it's just forever practice. Okay, we're going to tighten it up. A little bit of reverb. Tighten it. Tighten it. Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again, all by hand. All right, so end that loop. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so Red Walks, the one thing I'm doing there is I am using the high pass to kind of hear it live real time, and that's why it's so stinking important, fam, to be able to hear the effects in your headphones. For those that mix with their mixing set to Q only, now I cannot hear myself in my headphones. But you mix, you put it to the halfway point, so the mix, the Q, and the master, and you're hearing your master exactly how it should be, which allows you to hear your voice. It allows you to hear your effects. Now, if you're playing in a live setting, the one thing I'll say is if you count on hearing yourself in the headphones, a lot of festivals won't have the microphone plugged into the deck. It'll be into the house. So you still won't be able to hear yourself. But you still will be able to hear all the sound effects if you just use your headphone at the halfway point between the mixing, the Q, and the master. And again, the way that I bounce around, my master is basically always on. I'm just tapping which deck that I want to hear, deck 2, 3, or master. A lot of people mix like this with both these up, but you're getting a volumized version of the master, and so all of a sudden I can't hear properly. I'm thrown off by it. Okay, so over here in my next deck, I'm listening to this in my headphones, but I'm getting this song ready. Right? So I'm prepping. I'm constantly listening to the song to make sure it's going to phrase well and sound well, because I do like to play in key. Okay, now on the drop is when we're going to mix in the next track. But again, it might be 16 bars too early. So that's where we're going to listen to it. It'll work. Now we're going to swip the bass a bit. Normally I do a lot of this in my headphones. This will be a VOD. It will be, absolutely. Yeah, so okay, so super. That's the thing, and it's not wrong to listen to the music in Q only in your headphones. It's just very very you're missing a lot of potential. Hi Bean. Yo, big shout out to Celestial Bean, by the way, chat. Celestial Bean and Thugshells the other day did a mega stream together. Bean is like an insane artist that I met at TwitchCon, and is a very, very talented streamer, fam. And I really, really was entertained the other day with your with Buttfest, by the way. Let's try something a little different. Okay, here's what we're gonna try. So this is the track that we're gonna come into. It's a Cascade track. Where are we here? This is what it's gonna be. Okay, but what I want to do while this song is playing, I'm over here setting a loop up. Okay? Now here's what we're going to do. Okay, this is going to be going on in the background. Okay, listen in. Here we go. There we go. There's Dougie. Okay. Now, we got to end our loop here. Now, we could always loop this too, just to have fun. So this is where I'm playing around. In my headphones, usually. Ping pong, maybe. You can key shift. Oh, can you really? Now I still key shift by hand with the master with the master, but it's definitely a lot more complicated. Okay, I'm getting the next track ready, and again we're going to come in on the drop here. And the reason we're going to come in on the drop here is because I see that currently we only have 53 seconds left in the track. My tempo's good. But we're going to run out of time if I wait any longer, because it'll be about 45 seconds once the drop hits. So here we go. Okay, so what I did there is I cut the bass on the 8th and 16th notes. So in case you're wondering what that looked like again, let's do it together. We're going to restart the Bob Marley track. On the drop of the Cascade track, the flip reset, let's bring in the next track. On the 8ths and the 16ths, we're flipping our EQ. And again, you want to flip your EQ on 8ths and 16s and 4s. That's where knowing your music really helps, because you know when the music is going to change with different layers in the song. Did I click on the LCD to mark the song? Nope. You can though. I can just see that it's flipping right here. 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I didn't flip the bass there because I was counting. So we're going to do it here. And a 1, 2. Now we can. Let's just loop it. Nice little tight loop. Tighten it up again. Little gentle backspin. I got to know now. Oh, something you can do if you want to set cue points. Okay, first of all, if we want to look through a song, a non-live track, we can touch it, hold your finger on it, and it tells you exactly how many beats you are to that moment from the start of the song, or from where you are. A new devil with the gift sub to Eargasm. Thanks, D. So yeah, you just put your finger on it, and you can move around the track. Now, if you wanted to mark it, all you would do, you want to set the cue point. Whoops. There we are. If you want to mark it, all you're going to do, see, my hot cues aren't used. Just touch it. There. Now we got a hot cue set up. Now, side note, while we're here, quantize. What is quantize? Quantize is basically making sure that when you're looping things or your effects, that everything is going to stay on the BPM or the tempo that you're in. It's not necessary, but you don't want to have one deck on quantize and one deck off quantize. Otherwise, that'll really screw you up. I use it both on and off. A situation where it's good for on is when you're heavy at looping, because if you got 2 or 3 decks in the mix and you're looping a lot, then it's making sure that everything's going to be timed right. 1 bar. And when I turn it off is when I'm tapping. So here's what it would sound like if I was tapping a hot cue to like dance around a track. You can see it no matter how fast I do it. It's just a single bar. 1 beat, okay? Now if I turn quantize off, right? So it's not necessary. It's not. I don't even think it's on the NX ones. I'm not even sure. But just don't have one on, one off. It's fine to have it either way. It'll just screw you up if you have it going both ways. Can't have it both ways, chats.
I felt it from the start when you held me. But we don't have to talk.
Yeah, and some, if you're in a club and somebody has, like, I turn it on and off. Actually, I'll kind of show you something while we're on the on-off. The dreaded sync button. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'm going to show you a good use for sync. I don't use it. So people do, and that's fine. Whatever. I'm going to show you an actual use for sync. Let me just set this like this. Okay. A good use for sync is when you want to tempo slide 2 tracks together. Okay, watch this. Sync basically. Okay, well, I'll explain something. Sync is a tool. It's a crutch, but it can be very, very wrong a lot of the time. Too political. No political talk. Sync is used basically to ensure that the beats are going to stay on with each other. The problem is no matter what DJ you are, no matter how good you are, your beat grids will be off on a number of tracks. And I've seen artists rely solely on sync, and the beats are lined up on what they see the screen is, but they're a full note or a quarter note or a 3/4 of a note off because beat grids are wrong. So being able to mix by ear is critically important. Whatever, if people want to use sync, that's totally fine. But I'm going to show you an actual great use for sync. So what I'm going to do is on this next track, let's just say the BPM needed to go up or down, we could actually put sync on in this case and use the tempo slider to bring both tracks together at the same time. Are the colored buttons to edit songs and throw into the mix? Yeah, so you're talking the cues. You can set them to any color you want in Rekordbox. I'm sure there might even be a way to set the color here. Okay. Okay, so here's where we're going to use sync. Now, I'm just going to quickly bring this track in, all right? Let's just say we're cutting it. Now, here's where sync is actually very useful. Both of my tracks are going together right now. And they're still in time. Slow. Regular. See, they're still in time. Okay, so the sync button can be used for tempo sliding, which keeps tracks together. So where is that going to be useful? Not in that situation right there, but where that would be useful is, let's just say you're going from maybe a 130 BPM track down to a 100 BPM track, or maybe you're going from 100 BPM up to a really exciting 140. You're going to start it with the original track, put your sync on, and bring your tempo up as you're EQing in and out the two tracks. Hi, it's Kayla. How are you? Nice to see you. How are you, my Sounds of the Collective fam? Great use for sync. It is a great use for sync. And actually, tempo slides, okay, a really good example of a save that I used is in my Instagram stories for yesterday. I had a really terrible loop, and then I went into a recovery trying to get it back. I didn't get it back, so I turned it into a tempo slide for a drop, and it worked out really well. So I exposed a terrible transition that I had on, what day is it today? Saturday. I exposed a terrible transition I had on my last stream, and yeah, it's just it's knowing all these tools and where to apply them, because as you're mixing, you start to hear different ways that you can approach the next track, or you can start to hear different ways that you can fix things. And that's where screwing around like this is really important. Let me see if I can have some fun on the next track here. Okay, hang on. We're gonna try and set something up real time. How I would set it up in my headphones. So we're gonna take a track like Black Eyed Peas' "Don't Funk with My Heart," a remix, and let's try and create some hot cues on the fly to tap it out. We're gonna turn quantize off our decks. Okay, so what I'm gonna try and grab a couple of these vocals. See, that's just screwed around. Hey, Dave Businessman, thank you. We don't normally do streams like this. This is a lesson stream. And again, if I'm missing questions, chats, forgive me. Just keep asking them. I'm not ignoring you. I'm looking down and I'm talking as I'm thinking things through. I also find that it's really great just to turn it on and off really quickly just to get quickly the BPM of the next track where I need to be. Super, that is... Oh, and actually, let's touch on that for a sec. That is a great save. If you're in an emergency situation, you could hit sync really quickly on and off just to get that track into the BPM. However, for me, one thing that I struggle with is a lot of DJs DJ with their tempo in red, so plus 10. It's in this case, it will range from 139 BPM down to 113. But I prefer to play in green, so plus 6, which maxes me out at 133 and 118 on the low end. So it's just finer tuning. It's really easy to get to your BPM quicker. But still, sometimes it's hard because there's 123.60 and 126.30 and 126.35. But you don't get to see that. You could just feel it. So each point or each decimal has a high and a low. And that's where your drifting comes in. So what's drifting? Drifting is when two tracks... Here, let's just do it. Okay, in this case, let's set it up. Hang on. All right. Okay. Eventually, this will go out. I can already hear it drifting. If I let it keep going, it's just going to get worse and worse. Hear that? Needs a correction like that. That's the correction. Okay. So, yeah, there's a few techniques there. So again, what kind of questions you got out there right now? Like we've been covering a bit about the mixing, a bit about the sound effects, a bit about mic effects. How do you do the low end voice? Okay, so we go to mic mode on our effects. We go to pitch, and in this case, I'm
just gonna hold the 8th note, and all of a sudden it's low like that, or the
16th note.
The beat match anxiety kicks in so hard. Exactly. You can, and that's why you don't ever, like, sometimes DJs will set a loop and like go and run to the bathroom with two tracks playing. It's like, bruh, they are going to drift. They are going to leave. Question, please. Could you kindly, for the layman, slowly point to the top used buttons and say what it is so people, including me, are better familiar? Example, the jog. Yeah. Okay. Good question. Okay. So we've got the jog wheel. So the jog wheel has a few different uses. It allows me to search the track really quickly. Now I use my jog adjust on light. So some DJs will backspin like this. That's their longest. Some DJs like to mix like that, but it's really slow. I like to actually have mine as light as it can go, because I still like to actually work my around the song, because I don't have cue points. I'm constantly looking in the background with headphones at the song, listening to it. And the way you do that is you hold the search button, and you can either just hold it, or you can spin the jog wheel. See how fast I can get around the song? What's my favorite way to mix between two polar opposite tracks? Neon Emu, I would say there's like 15 to 20 ways that I do mix tracks. So I would say I prefer to mix tracks on the fly without a plan. And that's where you start to hear different sounds. And we'll kind of get into that. We'll go through a few examples in a bit later from one of the past streams. And we'll just talk about them. And we'll power mix, actually. And I'll kind of talk my way through it. Okay, so we've got the jog wheel. Jog wheel has a couple different uses. It could be set to vinyl mode or jog mode. So most of us use the CDJ jog mode. I keep my beat sync off, my tempo. This is our tempo slider. So this is how we change the tempo of a track. You've got the track search button, so we could go through our tracks one at a time, just by hitting track search. And you've got your reverse and forward direction. So in this case, we could play a track in reverse. This is good for when you're scratching. Now I'm not a scratcher, so I don't really have a use for that. On the left side here, which on the CDJ 3000s, I believe they're right here. Not believe, they are right here. These are our hot cues. So this is where you can preset cues like loops. Reverse means U-turn. U-turn. High cross. In and out is our loops. So in this case, we could start this track off with an in and an out. Okay, and again, if I want to adjust that from a 4-bar loop to an 8 or a 16 or a 32, I can. Maybe I want to go back. Maybe I wasn't happy with that loop. You can hear how it's going to cut off here, and this is going to sound silly. Now, see? So we know that loop is too big. Now, in the case of this track, the first bar doesn't really work because it's got that symbol on it. So it's going to sound silly looping that. So let's loop it like this. Here we go. Better, right? So it's a much better way that we can go into the next track. So that's our loop. You can tighten your loop automatically with this button here. I don't actually use this button really because I use the manual tightening over here. What else do we have? So our jog adjust eargasm is the tightness of the jog wheel. You can delete or store different effects. You've got your vinyl adjustment speed. So when you pause a song, you can have it start and stop right away. Or you can have it start and stop really slow. Okay, now I keep mine with a little on halfway for the touch and just under half for the release because I do a lot of this technique. Actually, a bad example there. Well, we'll get to one anyways. I do a lot of pausing and playing on actual mixing portions of the track because it's an added layer or an added sound effect. Up here, Eargasm, we've got anything from our search. We could search for tracks just by using the touch screen. We've got our tag list. I don't generally use tags. I'm quite organized, so I don't usually take the time. I don't have time to tag my music, so good organization is key. You've got all your settings from within here, within the CDJs, all up here. It's a very, very user-friendly interface. It's very hard to screw anything up. This is how you would change your quantized beat value from 1 beat, 4 beat. You could change your hot cue color. I just keep it simple. I keep it standard. And the reason I do that is because I don't care what color anything is. I don't care what color my hot cues are. I just like to do the music. Anyways, okay, let's get back to it. End the loop. Better way to phrase the question. Can you demo mixing between genres with much different BPMs? Yes. Let's do that. Okay, let's do that on the next track. Let's go into a D&B yellow a Coldplay remix, a Liquid D&B. Real chill. So the way we're going to... Hang on. What I got to do is I got to listen to the next track first to hear how it's going to intro in, and that's going to tell me how I'm going to mix it. Now, already, I think I'm going to loop. This is going to be a really extreme example. Top Flyer, thank you for the 200 bits. A pleasure to do it. You can normally fade all the way from Q to master, one on and up, two. When I fade all the way to Q, it's barely audible, probably 15% to my other controller. Gonna make something of the matching BPM with a loop. Oh, we could do that. Okay, let's do it a few ways. Okay, first thing we're gonna do, Neon, let's loop that part here while this other track's playing. 8-bar loop. This isn't gonna sound like wonderful, but I'm gonna show you the technique. So now I'm going ultra wide. Okay, let's go to 127.7, and then we're gonna come back to this side while it's live, and we're gonna move this to 127.7. All right? Okay, now we're gonna beat match. Get it ready. Whoop, sorry. There we go. Oh, the 8-bar and 16-bar talk confuses you? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And bar 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Switch. Okay, this isn't gonna sound that ideal, but this is gonna be a way that we could use that tempo slide. This is not the way that I would mix this track, but we're gonna do it. Everything stayed in time. That's not how I'd mix it. I'll show you how I'd mix it. Little space on the outro. Okay, but here's what we're actually going to do, because we're actually going to go down to like, I think it's 80 BPM this track. So we're going to go back into green. We're going to do it the way that I would normally do this. So it's just we're gonna go from energy into emotion really quickly, and we're gonna do that with some space to bring out the old track and some echo. Again, just to kind of accentuate. Whew, that was an exciting song. Now it's cool down. So here's what that looks like. So I'm gonna. Whoops, I wasn't even in the right spot. So again, space and echo. Two bar. Whoops, two bar. Sorry. 2-bar was on my voice. Yeah, Neon, knowing how to count will tell you the right time when to mix. I'll show you on the next track, or on the next track. Okay, that's much better, right? So in this case, again, all we did was we used two elements, or two layers, two sounds, to draw the song out into a slow piano. How else are we going to bring a track with kick, with bass, with low end into this? So that's why we use the sound effects. Hi, Allie. Hello. 2-bar, 2-bar, 2-bar. Nice to see you, Allie. Hey, by the way, chats, Allie K and I are going to be playing in a few weeks together. All right. So again, we've got a high energy track that we want to cool it off with a slow track. We're going to use space and echo to bring it out. Here it comes. It just allows you not to be so cold on the transition. And I'm cold at the best of times, chats, but at least not with a transition like this. There are ways to happily navigate from 127 down to 85 BPM. Now this is live over here. We're getting ready. Again, space and echo. Okay, now here's where we could maybe get away, chats. We could maybe get away with a tempo slide on this too. Let's try and go to a 250 BPM tempo slide on this. Okay, so what I did there, you can hear it still. So what we're doing there is we took the loop and we're bringing it up to 250 BPM. But we're using enough crush on there or high pass filter to keep it not sounding too strong. And then when we spin it back, we do a 2-bar echo and hit play or pause. So let's listen to that in its appropriate setting. That's how it works. Allie, how are you, friend? It's good to see you. Allie and I are going to play some house and probably some techno in a few weeks. Okay, let's reverse the roles here for you, Neon, and let's bring it back up from an 86 to a higher tempo track. And we're going to use that one, let's try it. Let's try that one tempo slide sync hack that we talked about and see if it works out on this track. I got to listen to it first and find out if it will. So this is me and my headphones trying to find it.
I jumped across for you. Oh, what a thing to do. 'Cause you were all
Okay.
yellow.
Yeah, let's try it. Okay, so we're going to set the next track into the same tempo, approximately. And this is where we would turn sync on. And again, this is about the only time that I can think of a good use for it.
And it was all yellow.
Okay, here we go.
Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turn to something beautiful. And you know, for you I bleed myself dry.
So as we begin to transition the song, that's when we begin to tempo slide. So this is where you could potentially slide 2 tracks up. You're not going to necessarily do it anywhere near this fast. But everything stays in sync there. So that's really the only good use for it that I can tell you. We're able to bring a track up in tempo, but yeah, it's you want to have tracks that are at least semi-comparable in BPM. Let's see. Let's try a couple different mixing styles. Let's power mix here a little bit. So what we're gonna do for power mixing, we're gonna mix like we would at if you're at a festival and you got 45 minutes to play a set. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find faster tempo tracks. Let's find some greasers here, chats. Let me see some buckets. Let's get some greasers in there. Greasy. Okay. Okay, I'm already mixing in the next track. So now we're going to power mix. On that drop, I'm bringing in the next one and I'm counting in my head. I'm already listening to the next track. Okay, we're bringing the volume up. And when this track gets softer right here, we're going to cut the bass. Okay, here we go. You ready? Let's flip it. So right here, I'm adding a couple layers to the left track only. House music is the best music genre to mix for. I would say house for me is the most fun because you're not playing one particular speed. I would say things like progressive and techno for me are very, very straightforward and they're very, very therapeutic to mix. You would mix I mix techno and progressive a lot differently. I don't do a lot of these nuances because it can be too much for those particular genres. Techno is lovely because you can get like 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 or 12-minute tracks, and you've got a lot of time to bring in 2 or 3 or 4 decks. So they every genre has its place in its uniquenesses. Yeah, Kayla, I would say that exactly. House music leaves a lot to improvise on because you are forced to learn different ways to mix and forced to adapt on the fly. Like right now, I'm not finding the track I'm looking for, so I'm going through by hand and finding the right track that fits this vibe. You know what? Let's slow it down for the next track. We don't even have to mix grease together. We can still mix it the same way. So on this drop, we're going to start the next track, and we're going to be counting the whole time. And a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is where people that use sync could really screw themselves up because the beat grids are very, very frequently off. Okay, flip our bass a little. So I'm bringing down my highs and my mids on the right deck. I'm really accentuating the high rather on my left deck. And here's where we're gonna flip the bass in a 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, if I'm giving anyone the silent treatment, I apologize. I'm like, I got my head down still, even though I'm trying to look up and read. So now what I've done, just for fun, I've got a 1-bar loop on the right. Sounding like that.
Wish that I could belong.
Okay, we just tightened it up from a single bar to a half bar, and then a little spin back. That's what it sounds like.
Nowhere to go, nowhere to run.
And this is where using your having your jog wheel loose or light can make a big difference. This is what it would be if it was
Wish that I
on heavy.
could belong. I've been searching for so long.
That's what it sounds like, nice and loose, nice and loosey goosey. Throw some echo on there. Wrong side.
Wish that I could belong.
So this is where a lot of that is just like hand done and kind of figured out on the fly. I used to have it at 50% red wax, and I want to think the only reason I really switched it is I went down to like 40% and then 30%, and ultimately I just kept going down and down. Toasty, no, I think it was a Twitch ordeal, to be honest, Toasty. By the way, are you satisfied with the overdeck view? Is this okay? How you can see it right here? Antonio, thank you for the follow.
Take me home.
Do I leave you satisfied, chats?
Take me home. Take me home.
Now this is where I would do a little echo.
Take me home. Take me
Home, home, home.
Take me home.
Reverb.
Take me home. Take me home. Take me home. Take me home.
Leaving you thrusty for more, Big Geek. Let's go. Oh, right here you mean? It's just wiggly. It's just wiggly. I'm aggressive. Be aggressive. Okay, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, that's when we're counting, chats. Now we're bringing the high up, bringing our high down on our left deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. I do know that one's set up for snap now. And flip our bass. Okay, let me Now, you could take this moment to talk to the chats. If you wanted to, you could go like this. You can loop that. And again, if you're not satisfied with your loop, you can tighten it or make it a larger loop just by the push of a button or your cue calls. We can go up to 32 bar here. High best B. And a new loop. So this is where if we had another song, lined up, let me find something that might actually be okay for that. So this is how I search for music. Yeah, sure, why not? So we could go like this. Actually, let's phrase everything right here. Hang on. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, we're gonna get our timing set up right, and then we're gonna use that vocal hook as part of our drop. And then we're gonna come back to this song after. So who of you is a QQ? I'm a QQ play guy. You'll watch it. You'll see it. I'm a Q with my middle and then a thumb slap on the play. Hey, here we go. So what we've done here is we've essentially looped the vocal hook, and we're going to use that as part of our drop. I was a little late there. Hang on, let me try it again. Okay, let's try it again. Again, we've got the Somebody to Love. So we're just using it to build energy. And one more tighten. Much better. There we go. Okay. Any questions on that? So that's where phrasing is important. We want to have our vocals, we want to have our next track already in the mix before we're looping something like that. So like this. Tightening the loop on phrase makes it sound so profesh. It does paralegally. It gives it that energy that you're kind of hoping for in a build-up. And you don't use that technique all the time, but this is why it's nice to have like 10 or 15 or 5 or 20 different mixing techniques in your arsenal, because especially when you're doing house, there is a lot of different ways that you can change energy and keep energy and change direction and lose energy. There are times in a lot of the streams where I know that it's not the direction I want to go, and so I have to change the way I mix literally on like 1 or 2 seconds notice. And sometimes you'll see my reaction like, oh, got it, or like, oh, that didn't work out. And that's where I usually try and correct it on stream. Whereas I would teach everybody, don't correct your mistakes. Just carry on with, keep going forward. If you're playing in a live setting, you don't want to try and backtrack if you're in a live setting. Panic mixing results in some fun stuff. It does, Neon. It totally does. I 100% agree with you. Let's just say we're going to mix it to a genre that is not even remotely close to this. Let's just say we're like an event DJ. Let's mix into some Kings of Leon or something here. Please expand on tighten the loop. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so let's loop it right here. So we're going to do an in, out. Now we've got a 4-bar loop. And to tighten the loop, there is 3 ways we could do this. 4 ways we could do this. We could tighten it by touching the touch screen. We could tighten it with the Q loop calls, which is what I use. So I can make it larger, 32 bar, tighten it back to a 4. The other way is you can hold your in, you can hold your out. What's the last way? Oh, there's an auto button here too, I think. This cuts it in half each time. Okay, so we're going to go into a track that would be like the next track's Kings of Leon. Now, I wouldn't necessarily mix like this, I wouldn't necessarily play this track. I love this track. This is like my drunken karaoke track. This next track is an example where we're going to go from 129 BPM to 155. And we're just going to use, probably in this case, space and maybe a little reverb to take this track out. This track really wouldn't sound good with echo. I'll show you why. Sounds muddy. Doesn't sound bad. But we're gonna reverb out with space. All right. Now over here we've got this song ready to go. Ready to go, lined up. Right at the start. We're not gonna loop in or anything. This is gonna be a hard transition, it's called. So just a cut transition. We're just gonna basically fade out with our space and our reverb, and then start the next track. Ready to go. All our EQ is in place. No loop on. So does tighten the loop, overlay the song over each other, or cue into a better position when transitioning? So does tightening the loop over the song? I'm not sure. Hang on. Let me mix this. So, in this case, this track, I'm going to come back to Eargasm. In this case, this track has this little intro, and if you were to just drop into that intro, you would kill a dance floor. Whereas we were able to use the space and the reverb to carry us through till the kick comes in. I'll just kind of do that again. So this is carrying us through. It's still playing out, fading out into the kick. Okay, what was the question there? Yeah, Des, as long as I've got the songs on my USB, that's the only. That's the only. If y'all got a particular track, or like a track that I might have on this USB, go ahead and we can mix with it.
All the commotion, the killing like pain. Have people talking, go. Yeah, your sex is on fire.
Karaoke hour.
Down to the alley, the breaking of day. Hey, while I'm driving,
We'll see.
I'm driving. Something for old.
I got some Drake on here, I think. Let me see. So right now what I'm doing is I'm in my headphones, listening to the next song. And that's where screwing around does help. And this is with it max. Taste it. It's just way too much. Did you see the yellow area that was on the screen when he was looping something? Right here. So here's where we have two songs that really don't mix together. So that's where we're going to just do the same thing. And we're going to... I'm trying to think of the end of this track. Okay. Let's go with Echo and Crush. Not perfect, but it'll work. Okay, we're gonna add some echoes. We're gonna cut the bass. Now, one thing I want to show you here, there's a bit of a it's like some sort of Mortal Kombat multi-kill thing here. Okay, so what I do in this case, I'm doing quarter note, half note. Ultimately, I will get to a single bar echo and a 2-bar and a 4-bar and then loop it. Also with the crush. So we're building layers here. So you kind of just have to watch, and I'll come back to it. Tightening the loop just means he's cutting it in half and half and half. Yeah, sorry, I really could have explained that better. Tightening the loop means you're going from a 4-bar, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeating to a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, half, 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 quarter. There's your verbal backspin for the day. Oh yeah, I was going to show you what I was going to do there. Quarter note, half note, crush with a single bar echo looped into a 2 and a 4-bar, and you're going to want to watch this, my right hand.
Put this behind us, baby. Find us again. I know. Put this behind us.
Oh, yeah, Red Walks. That's the problem. I can't change my intensity. This is completely broken. That's why I learned to use the touchpad. So where it's set at right now, it doesn't move from. Because this on-off doesn't work. Oh, and if you ever have a really bad sound effect on, all you have to do is you can just touch the 1/16th to get it off, like this. So this is a here's an example. Just touch and gone. Yeah, Neon, that's the idea is you just got to be able to know a few different ways to bring a track in and be like, who's going to notice? And like sometimes like DJs definitely notice. You're like, it was really funny. But you know when a good save happens too.
Oh, when you're ready, we can put this behind us. Maybe we can find us again. I know. Put this behind us. We can find us again. 'Cause I don't wanna go. I was alone in this world when I needed people. I know my funeral gon' be lit, 'cause how I treated people. I don't wanna go. I don't wanna. I don't wanna.
Now, what I'm doing here, by the way, I'm noticing that my next track is 128, and this one's too slow. If I bring my tempo up too fast, you're gonna hear it, and I'll show you why. So I'm gonna use the guise of crush and a transitional point in the song to bring the tempos up in larger quantities, and they'll be less noticeable. This is what it would sound like if I didn't really pay attention to it.
I don't wanna. I don't wanna. I don't wanna.
See, it was just really fast. So if I was using that in any part of the song, you can hear it. So I'm using the guise of a build up to the drop to raise my tempo. And a little fuzz.
I don't wanna.
Okay, we're bringing in the next track. Turn out the lights. Okay, loop it. We want to make it a nice long loop on this one, though. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this is what's going on. We've got the left track, Drake, massive playing on the left, and we've got Fred again on the right. Now, I'm going to start adding a little bit of effects to the left deck because the left deck is the deck we're transitioning out of. And so adding effects to the left deck are going to make the sounds seem a little further away than they are, and it's not modifying the current track. Once we fade out the original track, so the Drake track, then we're going to move the effects over to Fred again. So here's what that looks like. Hi, Craig Paul. How you doing, bro? Okay, again, this is what's on the left and the right. And together. So what I did, taking away the left deck there, I just used a single bar to 2 and a 4 bar echo. So this is a loop that you're listening to right now, an echoed loop. Violet Sunset, thank you for the 100 bits. IKEA Carpenter, thanks for the follow, by the way, and Antonio, you too. Appreciate it, Violet. You know what? Let's do something fun here for let's do a buddy of mine, his recent remix of Blade. Okay, here's a case where I do have a hot cue set for a loop. So if you knew what that was already, then you're gonna understand how this next track's gonna work a little bit better. All right, let's do it again. Okay, so what we're doing, we've looped our Fret Again track. Hi, Henny. So again, what that is, that's a loop. That's an 8-bar loop. This one's Blade, Blood Rave, Thomas Anthony remix. This is a friend of mine out of Edmonton, Alberta, so like an hour and change north of me. Oop, we lost a camera, did we? Which camera did we lose? Oh, the face camera. Now, see what happened there? What were we talking about earlier? Drifting. Listen. This is drifting, chats. So we've got both tracks at 128. Now, one of the main reasons that tracks drift is because 128 BPM doesn't necessarily fully exist. It could be 128.01, 128.015. Every decimal point on these decks has a two points for the decimal. So 128 has 2 settings, a high and a low. And a lot of people don't realize that, but you can't find that unless you're on your master tempo being on +6, which is the slowest that it can go up and down. So 125.8, 125.7, 125.8. And if I go up a little more, you see here, minus 14% is 125.8. Minus 16%, 125.8. And minus 12% is 125.8. Actually, so there's three points. I was wrong, not 2. So, drifting is this is if you went to the bathroom and you expected those tracks to line up, this is how that mess would sound. That's a mega drift right there. You don't want that for sure. So it's best not to rely on loops or your mix for a bathroom break. Okay, so you could use a loop like this to build excitement up. And actually, let's give me a sec to think here. We're gonna do another track that might actually work out well with this. Okay, we're gonna do two tracks that I would loop in, with just a very recognizable hook. So here's the one. Now we're going to tighten this loop on the right. Bring the energy up. Tighten it. One more, and then spin it. Cut the bass. So what we did there is we cut the bass and we used crush to, again, bring excitement, removing the bass at the same time. Let's go through that again. Are the switches broken or can they twist? Which switches? Toasty. These? No, they're wobbly. This is how they should look. Yeah, they're just really well used. Okay, here we go. Now let's call a new loop up. Here we go. Okay, so when we loop this track on the left, we want to make sure it's a quieter spot. Right here we go. Okay, so this is the loop that we brought in. Oh, it's broken in indeed. This is what we're coming into. Okay, so we've got an 8-bar loop on the right. We've got an 8-bar loop on the left, and we're gonna basically use this 8-bar cooldown as a time to build crowd energy. You know, you're in a live setting. Here, let me get this snap filter off, by the way. What the heck did I just do? Oh, I broke it. Seriously, what did I do? Hang on. There we go. Oh, bruh. There we go. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're building energy. Now we're going to let the loop go. Here it comes. We're tightening the loop on the blade track too. Tighten it more. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it again. Okay, so what we're going to do to reverse the steps, we're going to uncall that loop from Thomas Anthony Blade. Where were we? Let's see. There it is. Okay, here it is. Right, we got both tracks in. Hello, Nicked, by the way. How you doing, bro? Okay, let go of the loop. We're going to tighten this one. More. more? Any questions on that one? But you don't need to put rotaries to 10, 0 dB. Is that 7? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you're talking to me or... the tension over me. Oh! Set me free, 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 set me free. I gotcha. Okay, random tempo song on the next one. Bit of a... no, we're the same. Okay, we're good. So we're gonna take energy from a bit of an emotional track. This is a high energy with a great cool down period. And we're gonna go into just a nasty greaser on the next one. But let's power mix the next one. So what I mean by that... What I mean by that is we're gonna go fast through the next 2 tracks. But let's loop this. Here we go. Right? We could loop this as long as we need to bring up the excitement. Like I could be sitting out there on stage. Come on, let me see your hands. Wherever in the world you're from, Twitch. Let's go. Let me see them, pee them. You know, you use this time, you use that time to build the excitement before you let the drop go or before you let the loop go. Hello, Eric. You ready to thrust?
Chats, damn it, are you ready to thrust?
Let the loop go. Here it comes. And then we're going to power mix into 2 tracks. Eric, thank you for the 2-month sub sauce. We eatin' fresh. Okay, right there, we're mixing our next track. We started it. Our timing's gonna be good. And again, on the 4 notes and the 8 notes, we're gonna start changing the sounds. 3, 4, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1. 1. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we're gonna loop it. Now we've got a cool down in the song, so this is where we would add a little bit of nuance. A little crush, a little echo. Thanks, Eargasm. So this is where you're always listening to the tracks in front of you. Okay, so we're gonna speed mix into the next track. The next track's already starting playing. I'm listening to it, and I can always make adjustments with my beat jump if I'm not satisfied with my timing. But I think we're gonna be okay. See, our phrasing is right, our timing on the Fool's Gold lyric. Okay, I wasn't satisfied with the 8-bar loop, so I changed it to 16. Much better. Now 4. Now I wouldn't normally backspin this, but we're going to do it. Tighten 2 more times. Now, what I like to do on situations like this, where it's a little bit of a slower song with a greasy kick drop, so I'm cutting the bass right before we go in or go back into the 1, and using a crush again to take you out of the element for a sec, whoosh, back in like this.
To the inner Tesla partner. Yo.
Single bar echo. Now here's an example. Here's an example what we were talking about earlier. We can tap out the next track. So we're gonna put the effects on deck 2 only with a little bit of reverb, and let's go with some high pass and see what it sounds like. So see what we're doing there? This is what we're doing. So the way we're doing this is this is the next track, right? We're just adding a little bit of an 8th note reverb. Now when we spin forward and then we stop it by hand, it resets. Right? So this is what we were doing. Anyways, that's how we're using tapping in certain songs, and where you could set it to a cue point if you wanted. Okay, take you out of the room a little bit with some flange. Just lightly. Now we could go on this note too. Organic free-range hand-spun tapping patterns. So now the next track's in. We're counting 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flip that bass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Always counting. Okay, again, we wouldn't normally, but let's do a 1-bar loop, and we're just going to tighten it. Now, what I did there, I recognized that the spin was a little loud, so it was a combination of bringing down the high pass and the volume. Nissitek, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. And by the way, if you've tuned in for the first time today, this is not my normal stream. This is my normal stream room, but we're doing just a bit of a tutorial today, and just answering questions. And forgive me if I missed your questions. Feel free to just keep asking them or copy paste until I do answer. I am still mixing, so I get distracted easy. I won't lie. I won't even try and pretend it. As someone who's thinking of buying a deck or controller to learn all this, what would the people's recommendations be? Saying that by the time I get into one, options may differ. Toasty, I am very partial to Pioneer gear. You can get great Pioneer products for $400. Pioneer, the thing about it is it's universal. So if you understand a Pioneer deck in one environment, you've got a lot of the work out of the direction or out of the way when you get onto another Pioneer deck, because they aren't identical, but it's like, how would I say it? I would say best way to describe it is Pioneer is like speaking your native language. Other Pioneer products are like speaking in accents of your native language, so like a Newfoundland accent versus an Albertan accent. But going to a different brand is like somebody from overseas that speaks a different language, like German or Dutch or Chinese or Japanese, and coming over and speaking English. They speak the same language, but there's a bit of a disconnect between communication all of a sudden. That's the thing. So if you go with Pioneer, it's like driving a car. Turn signals on the left and the steering column, gas pedal, and foot on the right. But then in some countries, you've got everything on the reverse side, like in Australia. Now, actually, hang on. We could use this song as another example. This is where we could talk to the chats or talk to our crowd. we can essentially loop this part. This is, again, a very recognizable hook. I have heard very good things about the Hercules. I won't lie. I've heard great things. How are you able to read the blue waveforms? Zarek, I rarely listen to the waveforms. I'm listening by ear most of the time. That's why I don't change my colors. So, Zarek is talking about, I think it's right in here actually. You can do it on the deck, and you can also do it in record box. You can change the color of your waveform, but honestly, for me, I don't really use them. I'm constantly playing by ear. That's why really I don't have cue points. The only time I have cue points set up is if I'm power mixing for a festival. And I want it to be a professionally and coordinated attack. I do plan out my festival sets to a degree. There's about 30 to 40% of a festival that I still play off the cuff. Whereas a normal club show, I play like 60 to 70% off the cuff.
I close my eyes so I can see anticipation.
Here. You know what? Hang on. Before we get to the next track, let's kind of screw with this one and prep it. This is what I'm going to do in my head here, okay? Or like if this is playing, this is what I'm doing on the other deck.
You just gotta realize that everybody's gonna be on your tail. Tail from tail. Hey, you die. Hey, you die. Die.
Okay, so here's what I've done. I've set 4 hot cues for the next track.
You just gotta realize that everybody's gonna be on your tail from hey, you die.
Okay, so that's what we're just gonna screw around with this.
You just tail from hey, you tail from hey, you die. Hey, you die. Hey, you die. Hey, you tail from you just got tail from hey, you die. Hey, you die. Hey, you die.
So that's how that works. So we just set four cues. Hello, Thuggy. Yo, we got thug shells in the chats. Thuggy, wop you. Hey, we'll see you in a couple weeks, Thuggy. Hey, big love to Thug Shells in the chats, fam, right now. Thanks for hanging out. Thuggy and I will be playing together on January 24th. Thuggy, we're just kind of on this next track. We're gonna we set some manual hot cues, and we're gonna tap them out. So let's tap them out and see how it works out. You remember the drill, chats?
You just got tail from hey, you die.
Those. All right, let's try it out. Let's have some fun. Thuggy, insane stream last night, by the way. Holy smokes, fam. So see what we still got playing here? Now we'll tighten the loop on this drop and then we'll spin it. Okay.
You just got a real.
So what we're gonna do in this case is we're gonna power mix again. So again, power mixing, we're mixing a more of a style that we would play at a festival or a club. If we are given like a 45 or a 60-minute set, we're not letting songs play through. We start mixing them, and this is why sometimes people that might be a little bit newer to music festivals or something say, oh, they wouldn't play full songs. They're like, well, no, like when you get given a 60-minute set, you're probably going to smash out like 22 to 23 tracks, 24 tracks. It's possible to do up to 30, and that would be full power mixing, but I find full power mixing to be too much. If I'm power mixing, so what I mean by power mixing is I'm not playing the full song. That's the EDM stage. I'm not playing the full song. I'm playing usually every third song. I'm playing the full song. So that's more of the festival style. So that's how we're going to do it. And we're just talking about these transitions as we go.
Why is it everybody's gonna be on your tail from day you die?
Okay, so as soon as this track slows down, we're going to start bringing in the next track. Right here. Okay, you with me? Bring the bass up. Loop it. In. And out. Okay, you see how we got this on the left side and this on the right. Okay, now here on the 16th, we're going to want to cut this bass on the left. All right, you ready? See, you with me? This on the left. Now we're going to tighten this. Let's give that left up some reverb. Cut the bass filter. And again, cutting the bass and adding the crush is right there. Cutting the bass, adding the crush, it gives you a bit of a depth removal, and then back into the grease. We'll show it again. Back into the grease. Depth removal. Okay, now here, chats, is a prime example of why you don't trust sync, or why you don't just try not to use it, why I don't use sync, and why I don't trust beat grids. This next track, the beat grids are off. So, I'm going to go back to this song. I'm going to find my kick, and now we're ready for the next track.
Something's weighing heavy. Created too much pressure. He was so good. Now look at the cards love has dealt me. But you want it. But you want this. Give him to this pleasure.
Yeah, Zarek, if you're a looper, you should never have quantize off. If you're a looper doing 2, 3, 4 decks, Quantize is one of the most useful tools for the NX2s. And again, it's a snap effect on your loops. And that's why you can't tap out. You cannot tap out in Quantize. This is as fast as you can tap in Quantize. That's why we were talking about I play with it both on and off. Because it has its use. You're gonna be late to your own stream, Thuggy. You're streaming again, you Thuggy. You're an animal. And mix. All right, cut that bass. Now we can. This is where we're looping. Whoop! I actually missed that. Now this particular loop, let's flange it out.
Satisfying, it feels so good.
You did teach me, Thuggy. I learned a thing or two. Now, we're not going to bring it up on today's stream, Thuggy, because, well, that was like my first time ever scratching. Okay, one thing I want to point out here is where you can actually use, again, effects to bring and remove energy and restart drops. So in this case, I'm going to use a high pass filter as a really quick quarter note increase to bring the energy back. You'll hear what it sounds like. So I'm not doing that every time. I would do it right here.
So good, 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 so good.
So again, we can use looping to talk or to prep or to get a third track going. But in this case, I'm just doing it a lot because I'm showing you how it's used and how it can be used. So in this case, I've got a 8-bar loop. I've used a low-pass filter to allow myself to talk. And then you release it.
So good, so good, so
Hi, Jordan.
so good, so good, so good, so good, so good, so good.
Thuggy. Thuggy, I'll bring the XEs down, and not only will we do the upstairs stream, we'll break in your decks when you get them. Hi, Martino. How you doing, brother? Hey, did you bring gravy? Okay, one thing I'm going to show you. These natural builds in a track, this is where you can apply a tempo increase. So let's go back and do it. I may not be... Hang on. Okay, this is our loop from the last track. And we're going to use this as our tempo build. So to do the tempo build, we're going to keep the loop tight. We're going to eventually raise the BPM from 126 up to 250. And then we're going to spin back with a mid and high only frequency on deck 3 with a 1 and a 2 bar echo. Okay, so the way to set it up, effects on deck 3, echo, and we're just going to either touch 1 or 2. Filter. Okay, here we go. Okay, bring it up. So what that was this. And if you want to hear what this actually sounds like, this is what it is. Okay, but it's a loop. That's how we do a tempo sliding backdrop. So again, it's a tightening of the loop, increasing our BPM to 250, keeping our high pass on, our low down, and that's not necessarily the right note for an echo. That will be a better one. So this is how it should sound. How do you time the backspin? Good question. I'll show you. I know that on loose that I can backspin approximately 7 bars, or like a single backspin is approximately 7 bars. So oftentimes you'll see me do a 2-touch, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then if you're echoing, you can go for basically ever. I'll show you how I time a backspin. Okay, and this is where your tension comes in handy for your jog wheel adjust.
Close your eyes, it's you and I. Let the time pass in my world, don't care about the others. Just stay dancing on dances all night, all night, all night. And I can't ignore it. I like and you can notice. Nobody can scare it. Oh, baby, I love it. And I can't ignore it.
Okay, here's one we haven't touched on. So in slower songs, something I like to do is noise chopping. And I like to use echo on it. So this is a bit of a tricky maneuver that you need to have long fingers for. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a high pass filter, but I don't have filter on. I'm doing a high pass noise. I have my bass cut, and I'm doing a 2-bar echo and using my thumb to engage. Russo Sonica, thank you for the sub. We eating fresh out here. Gifts up to Pure Moods. Discord message, K.
Carry on, ooh, baby, I love it. Ooh, baby, I love it. Ooh, baby, I love it. Ooh, baby, I love it.
Now, Jordan. Okay, if you actually went back and clipped that, you would see that I actually had to do 3 spins because in my head, I knew that it wasn't going to last long enough because our tempo of the song is slower. So that's where it's kind of adjusting on the fly. Let's do it again. Thanks, Martino. And that's why, like I always say, I don't backspin as much live in a club setting as I do when I'm on streams. I have used the streams as a amazing opportunity to practice so many new things that I never would have used live and that I have started using live. Like, it's been such a wonderful opportunity to have had Twitch to try a lot of this stuff, because DJs might only, like, busy DJs might only play 52 hours a year or 104 hours a year, 1 or 2 hours a weekend. Like, On Twitch, we put that away in like a few weeks, like 4 weeks. We put that down. And so we're getting, 12, 15, 20 times the practice. There's a limit. I just got to open up Discord on my lappy here. Okay, sorry. We're going to come back here. As we approach this drop, a couple things that I like to do. Again, I'm an EQ mixer, so I like to do little nuances. So I'm going to do just a crush with a single bar echo again, just to build the excitement and remove yourself from the drop, and then boom, it hits. But at the same time that it hits, we have to engage the next track. So everything's ready to go. Here's our next track. Right, so we've got it ready to go. So in one motion there, in like a matter of, I guess, a second, we are doing a high pass on a crush and a single bar echo. And then engaging. Now you could use a delay, which would sound really good on this little stutter here. Am I saying this right? Ben Ambergen DJ, welcome in. Okay, we're bringing the next track in, and we're gonna, again, 7, 8, okay, here's the thing. We're running out of time, so we have a decision to make. Here's the decision. So, in this case, you could use a space to bring it out. It probably would be better in a bit more of an aggressive song. However, let's kind of redo that again, so you can see what the other options are. The other option would be just to do a nice loop. Orgasm. Take him up on the offer. Okay, so here's where we're running out of the track. Worst thing you could do is let this play out. So let's just do it like this. So we're just going to take the vocal hook. Bust a thrust. And the thing about doing this is we're not mixing even remotely close to how I would be necessarily in this setting, because I've got 2 or 3 or 4 minutes to set this stuff up. And here we're kind of talking it through and chopping it up. It's about damn time. All right, let's power mix.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciennes, trying to bring out the fabulous. Cause I give a fuck, way too much. I'ma need like 2
A little flange, lightly. It's softer, not too much. A little high pass, take yourself out of the element. And you want it all to snap back on the drop. Okay, I'm gonna bring it up so you can hear what I'm hearing. So I'm prepping the next track in my headphones. So basically, this is our next track. Hey, welcome in, Developer Steve. All right. If I cut the bass there, it's going to be a little awkward, so I'm not cutting the bass yet. But you're damn sure we're going to cut the bass rate coming up at the end of this little... Okay, right here. Here we go. Now what I've done is I've looped the whoo. Tighten the loop, add a little reverb. Okay, I didn't have my low off there, I know that, but anyways, it was a little too loud. Cut the bass, high pass. Remove yourself from the element. Back into it. We'll do that part again you wouldn't do it here. You do it at the halfway point in a chorus usually. But we'll do it again here anyways. Enjoying the music. Chats, is there anything else y'all want to learn on this? You tell me. If anyone wants to join the Discord, or we could do the find a track, or we could do the Twitch guest star. But if anyone wants to join Discord and ask a question in person, feel free to do so. If you have a deck, you can also... I do have a list of all my gear. It's actually on my About page, Violet Sunset. I think. Don't have the command. But yeah, it's on my About on Twitch here. Okay, now we got to make a decision. I don't know how I'm going to end this track yet, but I think I'm going to... See, that's where I made a decision on the fly which way we were going. You just have to kind of hear it. That's because they're wobbly, Allie. These ones are nice and tight. I should just flip them over. Ragged and bag, Allie. So all you're listening to there is, and we can drag that out with a 2-bar echo if we wanted to. Would I consider using a used deck over a new one? Oh yeah, Toasty, it doesn't matter. As long as they have been spilt on, you can get any deck tuned up the way that you want it.
Give it to me now. Give it to me now. I wanna.
Again, we're using a high pass or a bass cut to remove yourself from the energy and bring it back. It's just the little nuances that people don't necessarily notice and you don't want them to notice. Okay, classic case here, fam. This is why you don't trust beat grids. If you trust beat grids, this is what'll happen to you live. You'll get fucked with tracks like this. They look like they're an eighth note out, and they're perfectly in time. And we're running out of time here, so we gotta loop this.
Yeah, I know you like it just like that. So I'ma drop it like it's hot like that. No need to say a word, relax.
I missed it.
I'm in the air like that. That's what we're gonna do. Just like that. So I'ma drop it like it's hot like that. No need to say a word, relax. Just throw 'em in the air like that. Just throw 'em in the air like, just throw 'em in
That's better.
like, just throw 'em in the air. Just throw 'em like this, like it.
Turn down the sensitivity on the DJJ 400. Let me check here, Skizmo. Let me just pull up a picture of it. Okay, I got a picture. Okay, so there is no tension wheel on the 400, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. You can still backspin and do stuff like this. You just have to know the weight to put into it to get the feel for it.
Yeah, I know you like it too.
Like this one for me. Okay, there's a few ways I can do this. Just a gentle, and I'm pretty consistent on knowing the pitch that each, however many friggin' RPMs it is. You can go up. But this is on full tight. Full tight. Versus nice and loose.
Just throw 'em like this, like
Full tight merch, please. If it ain't tight, it ain't right. Right. Okay. Again, I'm counting in my head. So I know that we had to bring the track in and bass.
air. I know you like the air. So purple like the air, like, air, like, air, like. Warm in the air, air. I know you like the air. So purple like the air, air. I know you like the air. So purple like the air, air. I know you like the air.
Now, if we have a track like this where we're going from a heavier track to a softer track, we're going to use a high-pass filter with a EQ cut on our mid and our high to make it not so aggressive. See how it's in the background now? Redbox, and I've never had to replace them, so I'm lucky in that sense. Maybe it's because they're on loose. Big Geek, thanks for that. You can change it in Record Box apparently for your 400. Okay, that's a good tip. See, now we're tightening that in. Tighten it again. So in that case, that's about a 50% flick. You want it to only be about 4 bars, and you want it to drop off when the bass note hits. And if you don't, then you want to use your fader to actually make it drop off. So if you were like, it's okay to cut it with the fader. So let's just say I was going to go way too long on this next backspin, and I'll just cut it with the fader. It'll be going way too long because I'll start it too late. So you still have to manage things like spin backs and backspins and make sure that they don't sound overpowering, which I tend to be very good at making them sound overpowering. That's why it's all about practice.
Saw you standing in the light.
All right, let's mix one more. Any other questions out there? That anyone's wondering about DJ? Oh, we could kind of talk about a little bit about courtesy when you're doing back-to-backs. It's always good courtesy for DJs to talk or to communicate. First of all, you want to make sure that people know these effects. If people don't know these effects, then you want to reset them before the next person comes up. If you've got a DJ who's experienced, who's good, then you likely don't have to worry about it. But it's good courtesy to return, like take it back off mic for echo. Put the echo back on the quarter notes, whatever, or half note. It's just good etiquette to put it back the way it was so that people can start mixing in, especially if you've got a new DJ behind you who doesn't know something. Let's talk a couple things. If you're in a live setting, before we mix this next one, if you're in a live setting and you ever have a single ear headphone, so you only hear out of mono, I'll show you what happened. I've shown up to clubs before, and you've only got audio coming out of your one ear. Now, what happens is there is a stereo and a mono split headphone feature. This is good for a couple reasons. Okay, so there are DJs who like to single ear mix. They prefer to have one ear out, so they can use the mono split to avoid that. But at the same time, it actually has a really great feature. If you're using if you're using mono split and you're DJing out, so the way it works is the mono split is your master coming out of the left and your mix coming out of the right. So when you're doing 4 decks, your master is always going to be the one ear. You can tell very easily which deck is out of sync when you're using mono simply by tapping your way on these cue buttons, audio cue. You can find, of the 3, which is out of sync. So you can quickly make that adjustment because you're going to be able to hear it only in one ear. You want to know what the master is at all times. Mixing 4 decks with stereo can be a little more confusing or a little harder because you don't know which deck is actually out. Ventropy. It'll at least be up in my VODs. Now this is where I'm going to add a little echo and a little crush. So yeah, if you're ever in a live setting and you only hear one ear, somebody's probably put it on mono split, which is right here on the left-hand side of the DJM. So again, what I was doing there was cutting my bass on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
You, I feel so numb every single time that you're gone. Tell me why I can't feel anything.
All right.
Tell me
you know what? This is going to be... We're going to say this is going to be my last track. Unless anyone's got questions. We're going to raid someone who is big into production, and because of the way that we're doing the stream today, we're not going to raid a DJ today necessarily, but we're gonna raid something pretty cool. Someone who's recommended by one of our mods, by Deza actually. Deza's got me following this guy probably about 6 months ago or so. Let's go into the raid, having all your questions out of the way, but also let's bring some buckets over. Does the XZ have mono split? It does, Big Geek. And, well, that has been, hang on, what am I doing here? What am I doing? I need an adult. My cameras are all buggered.
I feel so numb every single time that you're gone. Tell me why I can't feel anything.
Dang it, snap filter. Hang on.
Tell me why I don't feel anything. When I miss you, I feel so cold.
There we go.
Every single time that you're gone. Tell me why I can't
Back spinning OBS. Thanks, A New Devil.
when I miss you.
Put a 1 in the chat if you want one more track. All right, fam. Thanks, Eargasm. Thanks, Toasty. Thanks, Choppy Waters. Thanks, Skizmo. Thanks, Big Geek, Violet Sun, RX7, Nora, 13. Nice to see you, Nora. Hey, New Devil, Red Walks. Thanks for all being here. That was fun. We should do one of those again sometime, I think. There's a lot of information there. I hope I kind of covered what you were hoping to get from it. Poke an eye out with these things. Thank you, Full Cadge. By the way, chat, just a reminder. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, 8:30 Mountain Standard Time, guaranteed. Sometimes it's 6:30 Mountain Standard Time, every second week usually. Otherwise, plan for 8:30 to midnight Mountain Standard Time. That's what my streams are. The Chaos format feels like at home. You know what, Neon? And that's the thing is, like, people get really stressed out about mixing. And, like, I prep for big shows, but I don't have to prep anymore. I prep, like, seconds before a transition. And it's, I wouldn't change it for anything, really. It's more raw. It's more raw and natural feeling for me. We're gonna raid One Man C Band. This dude's all about production. The organic hand tapping patterns. Mostly Greek to RX-7. I know, and that's why, you know, hey, when everyone asks questions about like some of the terminology, that was great. It was really appreciated. I wouldn't even say I covered all the techniques that I use, but like they kind of have to be used in the right setting. They have to be the right tracks, going in from the right track to the wrong track, or the wrong track to the right track. Manchester, a friend of yours is a friend of ours, Deza. Let's go in, fam. Buckets blazing. Roll on the greasy floor. Raga. Thank y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. And Ali K at the end of the month, or sorry, at the beginning of next month, and Thug Shells on the 24th coming into the studio. Ali and I will be playing in Toronto. And yeah, love you long time. Have a good Sunday, and thanks for being here. Thank you, Redwalks. Thank you, RX, Eargasm, Big Geek. Let's go in buckets blazing.